How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've done a video. Today we're going to be talking about the 2024 YZ450 and kind of comparing it to my 2019 over here. And I've ridden 22s and 23s. They updated kind of the head tube area of the frame a little bit, made it a little bit stiffer, a little more precise. And in my opinion, that update was a pretty significant improvement over the 19. I feel like that the 19 is too soft chassis wise, where if you hit a harsh transition, it's kind of wallowy and you don't know which way it's going to go. A little bit unpredictable in that sense, but I have been riding this bike for the last 5 years, so I have gotten really comfy on it. But going to the 24, I didn't really know exactly what to expect. I'd heard all the reviews. I knew that the motor was kind of smoother and linear, and less of a hit off the bottom, less of a herky-jerky kind of on-off feel, which I was not a fan of with the 19. I hear if you throw a Vortex map by Twisted on it, it helps that out a lot, but I just didn't really want to spend the money on that. So, but going to the 24, I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, the chassis is quite a bit stiffer, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing. I would like a little bit more compliancy out of the chassis, just a little bit, and I would be really pretty happy with it. A lot of people are saying too that this bike isn't stable, and that's just not the truth. Stock, yes. But what I did is I dropped my forks to flush in the triple clamp there, and totally just got rid of that kind of like twitchy, almost Honda feeling that some of the CRFs have, just by dropping the forks a few millimeters in the clamps. It made the world of difference on this bike. So that part's awesome. But yeah, it corners way good. It corners way better than the 2019. 2019 took a lot of effort and input to get to turn and go where you wanted it to go. Whereas the 24, you just kind of point it and it just goes. It lays into a corner much nicer. That initial tip in is just much better than on the previous model. And obviously this bike is the same from 23 as well. So when I say previous model, I mean like previous generation. But yeah, I think the bike looks great. Some people think it's kind of ugly. One of my gripes is this front fender is a little short, and when it's kind of muddy conditions, you're gonna have some stuff fly off the front tire into your face. So that's kind of a bummer. Maybe aftermarket will come out with something like that, but I really like the look of it nevertheless. Other than that, I think one of my biggest complaints with this bike was on flat, dry, hard pack corners. I just could not get the bike to turn. I couldn't get the rear to sit and squat and get that traction and drive. It would kind of end up doing this kind of thing where it would squat and then it would unload. And then it would kind of like almost high side you depending on what kind of situation you're in. But it was that squat, unload. Where this bike, I come into a dry, hard pack corner and I can get the bike to squat and drive the entire corner. It's still not as good as, say like a Cowie. Cowies are just always, as far as rear steering, just superior. Even that older generation, that last chassis, KTM, was like that as well. That bike would corner really good, steering with the rear. But anyway, rider position and rider triangle, much more comfortable. If you look at the 2019, you got this big dip in the seat here, and it just, the peg to seat ratio is kind of off. Like they're very close together compared to some of their bikes, where this is more flat and you don't have that big dip in it. And to me, I could be wrong, but I feel like the foot pegs are mounted a little bit lower. I would have to check on that, but to me, that's what it feels like. But I could be wrong as well. But yeah, so this bike I have, shoot, I mean, over 200 hours on. So I've become very accustomed to this bike. But hopping on this, it just felt very natural. You could definitely still have some qualities of the older Yamaha in this bike, but at the same time, I would say like rider cockpit wise, it feels kind of more like a Honda. I'd say the way it turns feels more like a Honda, and I'd say the motor kind of feels like KTM-ish. And then the chassis, the chassis to me feels like a little bit stiffer version of like an '07 to 2011 YZ450. It seems to have a lot of front end bite, and doesn't really do anything like out of the ordinary. Just very predictable, very easy to ride, lots of front end traction. Different but similar feel and qualities to that. I would also have to say that the 24s definitely feels a lot lighter, just in different scenarios, whether you're in like some tight kind of like S type turns. It's just very easy to just, like I said, point it where you want it to go, and that initial tip in is super easy. But then also in the air, when you go to scrub a jump, I'm not as good on it on this bike as I am on that bike, just because I like that feeling of having to put in a lot of input, because to me it feels more like safe, like I know what it's gonna do. Where this, when I try to scrub something, you have to put in less input to get it to do what you want it to do. So I'm just not totally used to that yet. This bike I've got close to 20 hours on now. I got it in December, and work's been killing me, so I haven't been able to ride as much as I would like. But still, I've definitely gotten a feel for this bike. I had Travis at TBT do my suspension, set up for like a B class works racer. And Travis does great work. I think it was more my fault this time. We kind of missed the mark a little bit and went a little soft. But Travis will rework that, and we'll have this thing really dialed. So, and I've kind of gotten into a lot of different scenarios with this bike. I rode a lot of moto with it, and I've done a lot of trail riding. Everything from rocks, like tight single track, to like wide open whoops. And I've been really struggling with this arm pump ordeal. I took a while off the bike after a crash, and I really haven't been the same. So I'm trying to work that out. I think cutting my bars would help too. I haven't even touched these bars. These are the Pro Taper Evo SX race bend bars, and I cut them like 1/2 inch on each side. Makes a big difference. But yeah, this bike really shines in like the choppier, whooped out kind of stuff. Here in Utah, I ride Warner Valley quite a bit. Kind of similar-ish, some of it, to Southern California high desert. Lots of whoops, sand, some hard pack, kind of like shale. Here they have like kind of a different type of rock than say Southern California would. Southern California, I'd say, is even more shale, where we have a lot of like lava rock here too, which is quite dangerous when you come up to it at speed and you can't see it because it's buried in the sand. But yeah, I don't know. Just anyway, one thing I am kind of worried about, and I will be updating you guys on this because I do plan to keep this bike for a while. Maybe not 5 years like the other one, but at least maybe 2 years. So, but what I am worried about is a lot of these have been having rod failures, and it's very uncharacteristic of Yamaha. I've beat the absolute crap out of this bike, and it just keeps running, doesn't burn any oil. And yeah, so it needs a clutch though. It needs a clutch bad. But that was kind of the other thing too. This new updated clutch, it does feel better, but it seems to fade. I think Kiefer's talked about that a little bit too. It's not like, say, a KTM clutch, where you can just really abuse it and it's not going to overheat, at least easily. Where this, if you're in some single track or trying to get up a big hill, and kind of creeping up it a little bit, trying to navigate up it, using the clutch a lot. It's going to get hot. Even riding moto too. I'll come out of a corner and slip the clutch to keep the front wheel down because this bike really likes to wheelie. And yeah, the clutch just doesn't seem to be fantastic. So I'll probably be switching that out for a Hinson here soon. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I haven't had this bike an incredible amount of times. I would like to more kind of call this like a first, not even a first impression, but just it's not my final review yet. So I would like to do, once I have this bike for say a year, and just really break it down. But I think the things I'm going to try on this bike, definitely go stiffer on the suspension, probably do an oversized rotor in the front, but then I'd really like to switch out the bars, and nobody seems to have 1/8 size bars right now. Pro Taper had a bunch of issues. They're under new ownership and they can't seem to pump any kind of product out. And then the rental 604 bend, which mimics the stock Yamaha bend here, they're out of stock as well everywhere. So it's that's frustrating. But yeah, just anyway, this bike's awesome so far. I've really liked it. I think it's a big improvement as far as just chassis feel and the way the bike corners and just the way the motor feels, and really just all around. I think Yamaha really nailed it. You know, I have, like I said, some kind of little gripes as far as just, I mean, stock bars. And then I think that the chassis could be just, you know, like I said, slightly a little bit more compliant. But I'm going to try some FCP mounts as well and throw those on. And I think that'll help out. And I like a good amount of bottom. And this is great, don't get me wrong, but I do think I am going to try a different pipe that offers a little bit more bottom hit. I don't want a lot, I just want a little bit more meat. So, and that's just more preference because I've been riding this thing for so long where it just right away, you just grab the clutch and your wheel's spinning. So, yeah, I don't know. I just super stoked on it, and hope to get some more riding time in on it and continue to develop it and get it to where I want it to be. Also, I'm going to be doing a video on a 2-stroke build I'm currently doing. I have a 2003 CR250, and we're doing some really cool stuff on it. We're going to do a whole new Pro Circuit exhaust system, and then we're going to be doing the Key-in PWK carb with the stick mod, and then a fathead head as well. And then it's going to be ran on race gas. So really stoked that thing's getting done right now. And I'll be doing a video on that because I think that thing's going to come out beautiful. And I think as far as CR250s go, because they're very vanilla and just they do not have a good motor. They're just kind of gutless. So I'm hoping that we'll actually get some good power out of it. And I'd really like to find an 07 CDI unit for it as well, because that's supposed to help that RC valve quite a bit. So yeah, pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I will do my best to answer. And that's it. So have a good day, everyone.